You have plenty of time. You don't have to make money. My best stocks have been the third year, the fourth year, the fifth year I own them. It's not the third week, the fourth week. People want the money very rapidly. It doesn't happen that way. You can be very disappointed in the stock market.
Let me bring John in, because you told me last time we talked on the air that you were now holding stocks for an average of 5 years. Is that still true?
Yes, Louis. We don't intend to hold them 5 years, but we find if you buy things when they're terribly unpopular and depressed, they don't suddenly come back. You have to be patient.
Peter said the market in the end is fairly valued. You've made a career of seeking bargains, so you sometimes must think it's undervalued here and there.
Very much so, yes. Very rarely is any share valued for its true price, or true value. They go in a single year's time, 50% too high and 50% too low. So it really pays to judge the values of corporations by the thousands in order to be able to tell which one has the lowest price today in relation to its true value.
This past weekend, I was with a group of academics. I mix with all segments of society. And they told me that nobody can analyze stocks, that it's all just a random walk and a very efficient market, and that the kind of advice that you people give and the kind of analysis you do is worthless. How do you reply to them?
That's just resigning from the game. If you take the game of tennis, exactly as many losers as winners, but that's no reason to give up playing tennis.
Good for you, John.
The main thing that people need to learn is that selecting assets is totally different from almost every other activity. If you go to 10 doctors and they tell you the same medicine, that's the thing to take. You go to 10 engineers to build a bridge, they tell you the same thing, that's the base. But you go to 10 investment advisors and they pick out the same asset, you better stay away from it. To say the same thing, in other words, the time when an asset is selling at its best bargain price is when most people are trying to sell. There's no other reason why an asset will go down to a bargain price. And if you wait until you're through the tunnel and out into the sunshine, you'll have to pay a premium price. If you even wait until you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, you are already past the best bargain days.
Many people think it's foolish to be a long-term optimist because we have so many problems in this country. There's problems of debt, public and private, problems of less than perfect political leadership in either party, problems of a growing international competition. How can you buy stock? Why don't you just run for the hills?
Well, the beauty of the stock is if you put $1,000 in a stock, all you can lose is 1,000. I mean, I've proven that many times. If you're right, you can make 5,000. You can make 10,000. You don't have to be right half the time. If you're right 3 times out of 10, and the times you recognize the company's doing well, you understand what they do, you add to it, and you take advantage of it, you can make a lot of money.
You're talking about finding companies.
Yeah,
Does the overall state of the economy not affect you at all?
You never can predict the economy. You can't predict the stock market. But when you look at Dunkin' Donuts, you say they have the best donut chain. You don't have to worry about Korean imports. You don't have to worry about what's happening with M1 and M3B. You just say to yourself, they're doing well. You don't own a lottery ticket. Time's on your side when you own a stock. You work with that company and you'll do well.
What do you think, John? We look to the future. You never think it's a dark future, but what do you say about these problems?
There will be bear markets about twice every 10 years and recessions about twice every 10 or 12 years, but nobody has been able to predict them reliably. So the best thing to do is to buy when shares are thoroughly depressed, and that means when other people are selling.
Is this one of those times right now?
In all of my 50 years of investment counsel, I cannot recall a month in which there was such almost universal pessimism as there was last month in October. So that doesn't prove that we can't get still more pessimistic, but if you're already the most pessimistic in 50 years, you must be somewhere near the bottom.
At the start of the past decade, you electrified our audience by predicting that we could get to around 3,000 in the next decade. They laughed when you sat down to play, but it turned out to be almost precisely right. What do you see in 10 and 20 years?
I think the next 20 years will be just as marvelous as the past 20. In the past 20 years, the standard of living has gone up 60%. The earnings have gone up threefold. The dividends have gone up threefold. The gross national product has gone up fivefold. And I would think our studies indicate that that would be what we expect for the future. including share prices. The share prices have normally doubled in America about every 10 years. So 20 years out, they should be 4 times as high.